to give you guys some of my thoughts on energy, and then I'm going to go into what I do to protect my energy. In order to protect your energy, you must first understand how energy works and give energy the credit that it deserves. Energy definitely has the ability to transfer. It definitely has the ability to impact you and change your way of life, the way that you move, the way that you think, the way that you carry yourself, and the way that you operate. And when I say energy transfers, I give you guys an example. I'm pretty sure that everyone has either walked into a room and maybe you had very, very high spirits, but you were around such a tense area, or maybe everybody was arguing and fighting, or maybe it was a bunch of confusion, or maybe it just was a down kind of vibe in the room. And now it kind of impacted you. Like, you don't really know why you're not feeling a 10. You walked in as a 10, you're leaving as a 5 or a 6, maybe even a 9, but you're not at your optimal point as you were before. Maybe you have dealt with somebody who they were just negative, and it seemed like negativity just surrounded them, and it seemed like nothing could make them happy. They saw the glass half empty. Maybe they could never celebrate the good things. Maybe the bad things always outweigh the good for them. And eventually it started to change how you saw things, or maybe it started to annoy you. Maybe it started to rub you the wrong way. Maybe you started to feel like, I can't bask in my good news because you are a negative person, or whatever the case is. That's another form of an energy transfer. You can have all of these different feelings that don't even necessarily belong to you, but they will attach themselves to you. It's important to understand your vibrations. It's important to understand the different frequencies. It's important to be in tune with you. So with saying that, I'm going to go ahead and get into things that I do to protect my energy, and to basically all of the steps, like the getting to know myself, the knowing what I'm gonna go for, knowing what I'm not gonna go for, knowing, girl, I will cut you off quick. Like, so the first thing, as far as me protecting my energy, I had to first learn my energy, and I had to learn what kind of energy surrounded me, what I was putting out into the world. So it became imperative for me to pull back so that I could really do some soul searching and really figure out me, and really figure out what it was that, like, I needed. Like, what was my fuel that kept my car going. I had to figure out, when did I start to feel like I was vibrating lower? When did I start to feel like I wasn't being the best me that I could be? When did I feel like I was being the best me that I could be? When was I my happiest? When was I my lowest? And what were the circumstances surrounding that time frame? So once I figured that out, it became my duty to know better and do better. Because once you know better, you have a responsibility to yourself to do and to be better. So to make some decisions, and I had to make some cuts. I don't need to be in a job that is so draining to where I have an attitude when I come home. I don't need to be in friendships where I'm feeling like I'm secondary, or I'm not as important to the person as they are to me, or I'm going to move mountains for you, but you not so much for me, or whatever the case is. I can't really consume myself in my friends' issues, or continue to even talk to them as heavily if they're just a negative person. Like, maybe every single thing that I say positive, they got 3 negatives. I can't consume myself in that. I can't consume myself in trying to be everything for everybody, and I'm now no good for myself. Yeah. Like, so I had to make some changes. I had to make some alterations in my life, and that didn't even just go directly for other people. It went for myself too. Like, if I'm watching this show, is it bringing me down, or am I still where I need to be? Is it encouraging me? The music that I'm listening to, am I listening to things that are feeding me in a negative way? Like, am I listening to things that are playing off of these different plexus that I have, like, in a negative way though? So I can give you guys like an example. Like, for me, I can only watch but so much sad, emotional, like death-stricken shows. Like, I can only watch so much of that. even with the drama, I can only watch but so much drama before I just get to a point of like, now I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm hostile. And it never happens all at one time. It's always a gradual like onset of it. Like, you won't notice it at first, maybe you won't even notice it halfway through, and then boom, you're blowing up. So it was a lot of things that I had to change for myself. Like I said, even with music, like if I'm listening to music and it's like now we're in a time where, to me, it's a lot of like demonic kind of stuff going on. Like, it's a lot of music that sounds to me like a direct chant, or like I don't really know how to explain it, but like I was on Twitter yesterday, and there was this post, like this tweet, and the guy was like saying how like some artist had like ripped his fingernails off in a video. He was like a dark angel, he had hanged himself, just all kind of stuff. And I was like, I just feel so uneasy. And I didn't even watch the video. All I did was read his tweet. And I'm like, whew, this is too much for me. Too much. But that's a part of really exploring yourself and defining what it is that you need, what it is that you don't need, what you need to steer clear of, what impacts you. On this journey, you will notice that a lot of things will affect you more. And the reason why is because maybe you had no awareness before, but now you're so in tune. The more that you're in tune with yourself and your energies, the more things have the ability to affect you, because maybe they was affecting you before, but you wasn't really noticing. So you are really in control of the situation. But like I said, once you know better, you have a responsibility to yourself to do better. And when I say that, I do feel like from a religious standpoint, it's almost like what they used to call, or they do call, the mercy spirit. Like, you feel what everyone else is feeling around you. And even with any spiritual gift that you have, the more that you're tuned into it, the more potent it is. Like, let's say you had spiritual eyes, and maybe you saw some stuff that scared you, but you felt like this is what God called for you to do. So you're now praying on this and focusing in on it and keying in on it and really trying to access your spiritual gifts. So once you get there, it's a whole nother tier that you're going to go to. It's a whole nother level that you're going to go to. So maybe you only saw stuff while you were having the Holy Ghost before, but now that you're tuned in and you're really listening and you're really focusing, you're seeing stuff all the time. And like a better example would be like when they say you could hear God's voice. You could hear God telling you something or leading you in a certain direction, or whatever the case is. When you're not in tune, you will very much so mix your exit. Like, you will very much so completely override whatever God had planned for you, because maybe you didn't even hear him because you weren't even in a place or a position to receive that word. Once you get to a place where you're like, these are your blessings and this is you. Once you're perfectly aligned to receive it, you can receive it. But if you're all the way over here somewhere, you will miss that. You will miss it. So think about it in that sense, like trying to like really prepare yourself and meditate and pray and all types of stuff. Another thing that I did and that I still do actually is like when I'm by myself, I try not to do it when my husband is around. Just because I feel like that's something that's sacred to me. Like, I need my time to sit down and meditate and really deal with whatever I'm dealing with. Maybe I have some things that I've been feeling or that I feel like have been attacking me or coming from my spirit and energy, that maybe I'm not ready to discuss, because once you put it out in the atmosphere, it's out there. There's no taking it back. Whereas I can meditate and really draw into myself and figure out what it is that I need to do some type of cleanse for me. So when I meditate, I use these here. You guys can see them, 7 chakras. They are incense sticks. And I love this brand because I was new to this whole chakras thing. I always knew about spirit and energy transfers and all this other stuff, but I wasn't really familiar with chakras. So once I understood chakras, it made a lot of sense. Everything started to make sense. So just take some time, look into it, read up on your chakras and stuff like that. I promise you, if things didn't make sense before, they will start to make sense. At nighttime, I use these, and when I say it really helps me as a sleep aid as well, but I just really search for peace. Other things that you can do is, like I said, walking away from anything, anybody, any situation, any place, any environment that is toxic to you. If you are noticing that you're going into a position at 100% and you're leaving at 50, that's costing you too much. So you have to get to a place of choosing you and realizing how important it is for you to be the optimal version of you. You have to be the best version of yourself. You can't be anything else. Don't settle for anything less than. And don't be afraid to walk away from things, places, people, situations. Do not be afraid to do that, because at the end of the day, once you clear out that negativity, guess what you have? Open space and opportunity. If I continue to have the same friend circle or friend group of negative people, I would have never even been open to the possibility of a newcomer who brought positivity and encouragement. I had to realize that on the journey that I was going on, that didn't necessarily mean everybody needed to go on that. And that didn't mean that everybody deserved the new and improved me. It didn't mean that I was supposed to, or I was obligated to take these people with me. Because at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to yourself. And not only that, but just because you have grown does not mean that your BFF from 5th grade has grown as well. Sometimes you outgrow people, and that's okay. Sometimes you outgrow things and situations and positions. Like, I no longer entertain certain things with family members because I feel like we're still in the same place. Even with me being in a completely different headspace, we are still in the exact same place. Why? Because just because I grew, just because I saw something different and want more for us, does not necessarily mean that you want that. It's the same thing with relationships as well, romantic relationships. You cannot be in a relationship that is unequally yoked. If you guys are not on the same page, then it's not gonna work. When it comes down to energy, I could use this relationship situation as a direct correlation, because when you are dealing with someone, even if this not your man or this not your girl, when you are dealing with someone, you are committing yourself to them in some form or fashion. So until you deal with that or leave it completely alone, that's pretty much what I'm getting at, leaving it alone, you haven't even given the universe, God, any room to even bring you in the person who you really, really want. So it's like, until you are done, until you cut that off and cut all ties, no, you can't expect Prince Charming or Princess Tiana or whoever to come, because there's no space. And your energy isn't even prepared for the possibility of a real relationship, a real situation. Same thing with friendships. It's not, you have no room. You have no open availability for anyone to come in, because your energy is so tainted and you're already committing such a vast amount of your energy into something that you know is not going anywhere. So be very prepared for that. Be prepared for the changes that come with it. Be prepared for the sensitivity that comes with it. Be prepared that comes with the awareness and the awakening that you're going to go through, because you do. You go through an extreme awakening. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and comment. Like I said, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and comment. And if there was any part that stuck out to you, please screen record it and post it on your social media.